so we find out a little bit more about our storyline, and our goal is to collect the 6 Ys books in order to find out more about what happened to Ys and the ability to stop the darkness. Once we leave town, we will now be actually heading to the second town of the game to get a little bit more info and story progression before we can go to our first dungeon of the game. While traveling through the game, especially in your first playthrough or so, make sure that you pretty much kill anything that you see just lying around if you can take them on. The extra bit of gold and experience will greatly help you out, and will make the little bit of the grinding that you're going to have to do less tedious, because you won't have to do it as much. This is the second town of the game. This is Zeptic Village, and we're going to start off by going into this house and talk to the mayor. He's going to first ask you if you can keep a secret. Of course we can. And then he's going to tell you about a silver bell that's been stolen by thieves. So now we have 2 missions in the game, to find the silver bell for this town, as well as to find the Ys books. Now before we can continue, we're going to meet with Jeva, show her Sarah's crystal, and she'll know that we're there to get the Ys books back. Jeva gives us the shrine key, which will allow us to go into the first dungeon of the game and retrieve the first book. To get to the first dungeon, we head north, onto the mountain trail, walk around this winding path, defeat some slightly tougher enemies now that we are in a different area of the game, but not too much tougher than the original guys. You will have multiple paths to choose from, but most are going to lead to a dead end. Now this is the shrine. All the way to the right of it is where the thieves are located, and we'll have to meet up with them later for the silver bell. Once inside the shrine, go to the far right and hit the gold statue. There is some items located in here, and I will grab most of them. Head all the way to the right first by going through the doorways to get the ruby. You may have noticed in that shop where we sold a golden vase, we could have also sold a ruby, but we didn't have one of course yet. Well, we have one now, and we'll be able to sell it once we get back to Mania. One thing you'll notice pretty quickly is there's lots of mazes in these games, and they're pretty hard to navigate if you don't know where to go, so you're probably going to reach a lot of dead ends. But anytime you see one of those big double doors, it's time for a boss battle. And this is our first boss battle of the game. Very easy boss to stay on the bottom of the screen so that the fire coming out of the walls can't hit you. And when he appears, keep walking into him. You'll see his health drain very quickly. And even if you didn't buy the secondary sword yet, you shouldn't have too much trouble with this boss. A very good introductory boss, because some of the other bosses in these games can be a real pain. Our next goal is to get the prison key in order to free a prisoner that's located inside the shrine. Work your way around the path, fight any enemies that you do see in order to gain a little bit of experience. When you see this statue, go up through the door next to it, and you'll see 2 enemies guarding a chest. Take them out, along with any other enemies that are in the room. Sometimes there will be 1 or 2. Take them out and grab the chest for the prison key. Once you have attained the prison key, we're going to head back a little bit. Go past the statue, kill any enemies once again that you see, and then work your way back up the stairs all the way on the left. As we make our way over to this side, you can see a big locked door. Now this first one just contains an enemy, but I'm going to open up just to show what's inside as I equip the prison key. Sometimes you have to equip the item in order to use it, and other times you can just walk into an object and you'll automatically use the object that you need on it. Just to the right of that door is another door where we will run into Fina for the first time.
Are you here to rescue me? How wonderful it would be to escape these chains. I have been locked up here for too long. My name is Fina.
After we meet Fina for the first time, she thanks us of course and gives us the Treasure Box key. Now this key will be used to unlock all the locked chests that are located in this shrine. Our goal now is to find some of these locked treasure chests. When you get to one of the locked boxes, it'll tell you to use the Treasure Box key, and right there we got the necklace, another one of the sellable items from that first shop that we went to where we sold that sapphire ring. The item located in this chest, an item we'll only have to use a few times, but it's going to be very important for us to be able to get the other parts of the dungeon. As we continue through the dungeon, our next goal is going to be getting 2 more items before we're going to leave this dungeon, go get some new equipment, sell some items, before coming back in and heading to the basement or the bottom of the shrine in order to fight the boss and get our first book. While we don't necessarily have to leave the shrine right now in order to get those new items, we can wait till we actually complete this place before getting them. It's going to help us out a lot in terms of our defense, especially considering we're relatively low level at this point in the game. As I make my way over here, go down here in order to open up this box with the Treasure Box key in order to get the Silver Bell. As you remember, the Silver Bell is the item that the mayor told us to get, which was stolen from his village. As we make our way back to the first town in order to buy new armor, we'll make sure that we stop by and give the Silver Bell to the mayor. Now that we have the Silver Bell, what we're going to do is go almost all the way back to the entrance in order to get the armor ring, the last item we're going to get, then head to the exit and start heading backwards. Like I mentioned before, there's a lot of backtracking in the game. A lot of that really also has to do with the fact that there's only a couple of towns in the entire game. One really, to be specific, the first town, where we actually can buy items and new equipment. The secondary town is just kind of a storyline town, and there's only one other area where we will really be interacting with any actual humans. By opening this chest, we just got the armor ring, which is our first ring that we've gotten. If you equip the armor ring in your equipment area, what it does is it halves the amount of damage that normal enemies do to you, but it does not half the damage from the bosses of the game. So even with the armor ring equipped, the bosses will still do the same amount of damage. Once we're back in the village, head over to the left to the upper house and talk to the mayor and give him back the Silver Bell. He's of course going to thank us for giving him back the Silver Bell, be shocked that it was actually in the shrine, and then he's going to give us the Power Ring. Now the Power Ring is actually going to increase our attack power against enemies. With the Silver Bell returned, it's time to return to Mania in order to buy some new armor. Once we get back to the town of Mania, stop by the first shop that we've stopped by several times now in order to sell both the ruby and the necklace now that we have them. If you are a little bit low on health, you may want to stop by the hospital in order to cure your wounds. You may also want to buy medicine for 1,000 gold, which is a pretty good amount of money in this game. However, with the medicine, it will replenish your entire bit of health, but unfortunately you can only have one at a time. So if you find another one located in any of the dungeons, there's several in certain chests throughout many of the dungeons in the game, what happens is you automatically use that medicine and replenish your health right there, while still keeping the one in your inventory. When we go back to the armor shop to actually buy new equipment, buy the plate armor. If you are interested, you can talk to the citizen up in the right corner. She'll talk about the silver harmonica. Now, I'm not positive if you need to talk to her first in order to locate the silver harmonica later on in the game, but that's going to be an important part of the plot. So now we have some new armor, we sold some items, have some medicine. Our next goal is now to go back to the shrine, and let's finish it up, kill the boss, and